Hello, everyone. My name is Jessie, and I'm the MC of the webinar today. Welcome to CHINAPLAS 2021 Applications Online Forum. The theme of today is What's Next for ASEAN E-Commerce, Sustainable Plastic Packaging. Just a quick housekeeping before we get started. First of all, for a better listening experience, you are advised to mute your microphone. If you have any questions for our speakers during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel. Our speakers will answer them at the end. In case you encounter any internet disruption during the webinar, please try to sign in again. If you like to listen to Chinese presentation, please click the interpretation button on your control panel and select Chinese. 如果您想收听中文频道，请在您的控制面板上点按口译，然后选择中文即可。If you like to listen to English presentation, please stay in this channel. There will be 2 sessions in today's webinar. Upcoming, we will first start with individual sharing by our keynote speakers. Today, we are much honored to have 4 guests from the industry to give us their insightful sharing. They're Mr. Ashok Upadhyaya from the Thai Packaging Association, Ms. Wee Ching Yun from Malaysian Plastic Manufacturers Association, Mr. Yao Wei Jian from ExxonMobil Chemical, and Mr. Simeon Wong from Jinming Machinery Guangdong. After the individual sharing, we will have a panel discussion with our speakers. The first speaker of today is Mr. Ashok Upadhyaya. Mr. Ashok is currently the Vice President of Thai Packaging Association and the Managing Director of AJ Prosperity Business. He is the Joint Vice President, former Joint Vice President in Corporate Affairs of Indorama Venture. In the past 20 years, Mr. Ashok has represented different leading industry enterprises and organizations actively engaged in the plastic business and industry development across ASEAN. Now, we will pass the time over to Mr. Ashok.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Ashok Upadhyaya, Vice Chairman of the Thai Packaging Association. It is my pleasure to be invited to speak on what's next for ASEAN e-commerce, sustainable plastic packaging, especially on boom of e-commerce and plastic usage. Trend of 2020, as you know, new generation are spending more time online, social media, and this make them more convenient to shop online. There occurs for new generation sellers new opportunities to start business online more easier than offline physical shop. They can access to more right target group. Thailand e-commerce was projected $8.9 billion for 2021 and $12.3 billion for 2025. Very fast expansion. Whereas for ASEAN, forecast is $102 billion by 2025. Largest segment is food and personal care, valued to $3.1 billion in 2021 for Thailand. The impact of COVID-19 has made changes in consumer behavior to go more buying online. Sales online has increased more than double compared to pre-COVID-19 time. Usage of plastic packaging. It is necessary to know the importance of plastic packaging. It is flexible, lightweight storage, can survive extreme environment, durable and resistant to external influences, easy to reuse and recycling, cost-effective and wide range of usage, and take less energy to recycle it. Here are types of mostly used plastic for packaging: HDPE or high density polyethylene, LDPE, low density polyethylene, PET, polyethylene terephthalate, PS polystyrene, PP polypropylene, PVC polyvinyl chloride. Here I am going to tell you about future expectation on plastic packaging on e-commerce. Online platform of e-commerce will increase more sales in consumers' products, which results in increasing demand in retail selling. This will make a lot of requirement in small packaging, and certainly plastic packaging will play a significant role due to its quality mentioned before. Eco-friendly plastic materials are to be more promoted, such as bioplastics, to be used for packaging purpose. Next, I'm going to tell about awareness and needs of sustainable plastic packaging. We have to increase awareness of consumers by educating them how to enhance reducing and recycling of plastic packaging after unpack their received parcel. Separation of plastic packaging waste by promoting efficient collector and separator. Promote plastic recycling business. More government incentives should be granted to the operators. Biodegradable plastic packaging should be more promoted to save environment. Lastly, I would like to talk about problem of pollution from plastic packaging usage from quick development of e-commerce. After spread of COVID-19 and present new normal situation have made e-commerce develop in a very fast pace. Let us say that it has increased by double. So a lot of parcels are delivered each day, more than previous normal time. More online mails and consumer products are delivered, which their packaging are mostly one-time used and disposed into garbage, affecting environment many folds. This plastic packaging waste, if not well managed, can cause pollution to sea and soil. And in many cases, it causes flood to the city by blocking their drainage systems. So in many countries, government have banned usage of plastic shopping bag. I hope that my presentation has given you some pictures and idea about plastic packaging usage. And I'm giving you my email address and phone number in case you wish to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok, for giving us an overview of the plastic packaging usage under the emerging e-commerce growth. If you have any questions for Mr. Ashok, please type them in the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel. May I please introduce our second speaker, Ms. Wee Ching-yun. Ms. Wee is the chairman of the Sustainability Subcommittee of Malaysian Plastic Manufacturers Association. She is also the managing director of Chonghua Plastic. Ms. Wee is a strong advocate on sustainable plastic. She has spoken on numerous prestigious platforms such as Sustainable Brands Kuala Lumpur, International Congress for Conservation Biology, Waste Management Association of Malaysia Annual Conference, and more. Ms. Wee, over to you.
Good day. My name is Wee Ching-yun. Thank you, ASEAN Hong Kong, organizer of CHINAPLAS 2021, for giving me and the Malaysian Plastics Manufacturers Association the opportunity to share the Malaysian experience in challenges and opportunities of sustainable plastics packaging for e-commerce. I will be sharing with you the Malaysian consumer behavior during COVID-19, the Malaysian plastics packaging composition, an update of sustainable and recyclable plastics packaging in Malaysia. The global crisis of COVID-19 has changed how we live, work, and play, with rampant lockdowns and movement restrictions to break the circuit of virus transmission. Shopping and consumption pattern quickly changed from physical to buying online, which leads to surge in e-commerce all over the world. The volume of online delivery originally estimated to be achieved in 10 years time frame was achieved within 8 weeks. Malaysia is no exception. With high internet and smartphone penetration and growing middle class and tech-savvy millennials, we foresee continuous increase in e-commerce. With increase in e-commerce, there is an increased use of plastics packaging and products due to it being lightweight and unbreakable, which makes it the perfect choice of material. With good foresight, Malaysia has started to work on circular economy since 2019 in the effort to maximize recovery of plastics for recycling and remanufacturing. I'm glad to share with you that the Malaysian Circular Economy Roadmap for Plastics is being developed as I speak and set to be launched this year. Plastics packaging is an important enabler to the other industries such as the food, chemicals, and medical industry. Plastics packaging enable export growth. Out of the total plastics production in Malaysia, 48% are packaging products, where packaging film take up 20%, bags 18%, and rigid plastics 10%. With the world demanding for sustainable plastics and the surge in e-commerce, packaging brand owners, designers, and packaging suppliers in Malaysia are working round the clock to identify, trial, and adopt a more sustainable packaging, aligning to the much referenced Ellen MacArthur's Foundation, the New Plastics Economy. Similar to the other packaging worldwide, Malaysian Flexible Packaging Converters produces monolayer and multi-layer laminated flexible packaging. Let's look at the monolayer plastic path. Here we have 3 sustainability options. First, we produce using a material which are renewable, for example, bio-based material made out of tapioca, seaweed, or plastic resin made from oil produced through chemical recycling, better known as pyrolysis, instead of extracted fossil fuel. The challenge here is finding bio-based material that is affordable, process-friendly, and with supply consistency. The second sustainable option for monolayer flexible packaging is to use compostable resin. The challenge here is the price of material and the availability of industrial composting facilities and channel of waste collection wherever the packaging will be disposed. The third option is to use Oxo Degradable Material, and this option has been implemented for many years now. Until recently, more scientific research has linked the degradation or fragmentation of plastics to be a contributing factor to microplastics. Therefore, this option is not so favorable at this moment. Now let's move to multi-layer and multi-material laminated plastics packaging. These packagings are made up of 2 or more different materials in order to create usually a good barrier against water vapor and gases, to preserve freshness of package content. Since it is impossible to separate the different materials for recycling, this packaging is considered not recyclable. In order for this packaging to be recyclable, we have to find a solution whereby we use material from the same family. For example, either polyethylene, PE, or polypropylene, PP, and yet achieve the barrier properties needed for its intended use. It has been a huge challenge for the brand owners and the packaging producers, but many resin suppliers have stepped up to the challenge, and we are starting to see some successes based on the newer packaging launched. I would say this mono-material, multi-layer packaging face the most challenges as it involves costly trials of new materials and machinability issues at both the producer and packaging side. As more brand owners pledge their packaging sustainability goals, more packaging has been more packagings have been converted to comply with the aspiration. While we wait for investments in chemical recycling to scale up, we have witnessed packaging transformation taking place. We see brands launching mono-material, multi-layer recyclable stand pouch, which serves as a lightweight, lesser material used version of their plastic bottle counterpart. These stand pouches makes a good e-commerce product as well, due to its lightweight and compactable structure. Some brands have unfortunately changed from plastics to paper, like the straws on boxed beverages. Other brands have refill stations at specialty stores to encourage consumers to reuse their bottles for recycling. For brands with recyclable packaging, they are printing information about how to recycle or reuse and empowering the consumers to do their part for the environment. In summary, the future trend is towards sustainable, recyclable, or compostable packaging, and brand owners want to demonstrate their care towards the environment. The sustainable packaging requirement to use less plastics is very much aligned with e-commerce lightweight preference. Therefore, the push towards sustainable packaging is being accelerated. There are huge opportunities for novel plastic materials with improved barrier properties, composting ability, and recyclability. This has given rise to demand for more efficient waste management and take-back system using digital technology. In Malaysia, we have seen increasing use of digital packaging collection and recycling through mobile applications. These lay a good foundation for the creation of a circular economy of plastics in Malaysia. Thank you for listening in, and I hope I have given an insight to you on the Malaysian experience of sustainable packaging. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at the following contacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wee, for your remarks on the challenges and opportunities of sustainable plastic packaging for e-commerce. If you have any questions for Ms. Wee, please type them in the Q&A box in your control panel. Now, I would like to introduce our third speaker, Mr. Yao Weijian. Mr. Yao is the Head of Market Development, PVA Southeast Asia and Oceania of ExxonMobil Chemical. Prior to ExxonMobil, Mr. Yao has spent more than 10 years in different roles from manufacturing to sales and market development. Since 2014, He has been managing automotive, appliances, and packaging business across major Southeast Asia markets, such as Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Philippines. Mr. Yao, over to you.
Thank you, Jessie, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wei Jian, and I am the head of market development at ExxonMobil Chemical. I look after the Southeast Asia and Oceania markets. I hope that all of you on the call, your families and colleagues are safe in light of this very challenging COVID-19 pandemic faced globally. Before I begin, I also like to appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And also like to thank the CHINAPLAS organizing team for the invitation and opportunity to share about our solutions that help to create recyclable, flexible packaging for tomorrow at this forum. To begin with, everyone on this call are users of plastics in one form or another. And plastics, as you know, are actually incredibly versatile materials. They are durable enough to protect all kinds of products and yet lightweight, reduces energy consumption, and CO2 emissions compared to traditional alternatives such as aluminum, glass, or paper. With e-commerce gaining popularity, demand for primary and secondary packaging materials will grow, and plastics will continue to play on multiple roles in helping to protect and increase the shelf life of food and other products while delivering it safely to consumers around the world. Out of all the plastics generated globally, it is estimated that only 14% of plastic packaging waste is collected for recycling, right? And as such, there is tremendous opportunity for our industry to play a significant role in helping society address these concerns. Solutions to the plastic waste challenge will require collective support, innovation, and collaboration on a global front. It will start from raising producers all the way to converters, brand owners, consumers, NGOs, recyclers, government, consumers themselves to collect and sort waste, okay? And this will be important and necessary for us to be able to, resolve this huge challenge that we are facing. So at ExxonMobil, we believe that plastics are valuable and they should not be buried in landfills or end up either in the land or oceans as waste. And we are committed to doing our part to help to mitigate this growing societal challenge of plastic waste. We are leveraging our size and scale to find solutions that drive us from the current state, which is the mechanical recycling, to a future state whereby plastics will have a greater value and therefore less likely, escape into the environment. We envision that in the next 5 years or so, we will have the technology and also supply chain partnership to significantly change the life cycle of single-use plastic into multiple cycles of use, right? And in this case, the way we are doing it is to regenerate plastics by converting them back through advanced recycling into feedstocks again, and then from here on, going back into resins and valuable products. Based on our assessment, we believe that pyrolysis is known to be the most flexible and efficient of the regenerated plastics processes, and is also the best fit for integration with our existing refinery and steam cracking processes. But we still have more work to do, and we are also very excited about this potential impact that our advanced recycling process could provide. However, it is important to note that this process of advanced recycling is meant to complement mechanical recycling and not replace it. Mechanical recycling of plastics remains important, and for the rest of my sharing today, I will focus on some of the ExxonMobil solutions that will enable our industry to increase mechanical recycling uptake. So the use of multiple materials in packaging has made it very difficult, if not impossible, for us to recycle multi-material packaging based on currently available mechanical means. As such, a large amount of flexible packaging is not recycled today and has to be disposed as waste. This issue has prompted us to develop mono-material packaging solutions in effort to improve the recyclability of flexible packaging material today. Over the last few years, we have developed complementary solutions to address the plastic waste challenge. We push boundaries in reducing plastic waste usage through extreme down gauging, while still maintaining the mechanical performance of the packaging. We also focus on designing fully recyclable flexible packaging solution with mono-material PE and mono-material PP films without sacrificing film performance. So let me first start with all PE structure design concepts. Typically, in flexible packaging today, you see that the PE films consist of a PE sealant film, normally laminated to a substrate that is made of either oriented polyester, oriented polyamide, or oriented polypropylene. These substrates are used widely today in order to meet the packaging requirements, right? So the requirements typically, the films have to have high secant modulus or stiffness in order to withstand printing processes such as flexo printing or rotogravure printing. You also need to have heat resistance to accommodate sealing processes alongside good optical performance for shelf appeal. At the same time, on the sealant layer side, you will need performance such as toughness, low seal initial temperature, and so on and so forth. However, as mentioned, in the case of a multi-material structure, it is often difficult, if not impossible, to recycle with the available mechanical processes today. Therefore, the design principle of our solution is to replace these substrates with 100% polyethylene and create enough density gradient between the substrate and the sealant film, right? We have a wide range of solutions designed for both 3 or 5 layer blown film co-extrusion, as well as solution optimized for machine direction oriented films or conventional blown film, be it for dry packaging or liquids packaging products in exemption of barrel packaging application. This flexibility is made possible with our extensive product range of performance PE, including our Enable product, our Exceed product, Exceed XP for performance polyethylene, as well as our newly launched Exact Plastomer solutions. Our optimized MDO solution, this formulation incorporates Enable 4009 together with Exceed XP performance PE ethylene, performance P product, and this is able to achieve haze level on par with bioorientated PP films, comparable to bioorientated polyamide films, and not too far off polyester films. We could also provide an adequate level of stiffness comparable to solutions based on PP or PA films. Our MDO solutions could achieve optimal optical and mechanical performance at a stretch ratio of 4.8 times, whereas conventional HDPE formulations typically require a stretch ratio of 6 times in order to achieve acceptable optical properties. Low stretch ratio in this case means lesser risk of film breakage and lesser production downtime, therefore increasing productivity and reducing product waste during conversion. More importantly, our PE substrate can provide outstanding job performance to ensure that the package contents it contains does not have any pesky leaks. Our non-MDO solutions incorporates Enable 4002 together with XP Performance PE. This also exhibit exceptional toughness with a very high dart impact and puncture energy, as well as outstanding packaging integrity in terms of job test performance. The design principle is to create a density gradient between the substrate and sealant layer, as this allows us to accommodate the sealing process while maintaining a mono PE structure. The melting point of LLDP would normally range around 120 to 140 degrees C and is significantly affected by its density. If we have a sealer film that has the same density as a substrate, that means that both of these layers will have similar melting temperature, and this will result in wrinkle or film getting stuck on the sealing bar during the sealing process. Because of this challenge with the sealing process of monomaterial films, we need to come up with a PE-based sealant film that is able to seal at the lowest possible sealing initiation temperature and exceed 1012-2012, being one of the lower density solutions that we have at 0.912, allows us to reduce the SIT of the sealant film to a range of about 90 to 95 degrees C. If lower SIT is desired, our exact solution, 3236 and 3237, can also be blended to further reduce the SIT of the sealant film. This set of solutions will enable our customers to come up with all PE-based films which are recyclable without compromising on the performance required. The design principle behind all PP structure design concept is not too different from what we just discussed for PE structure. Typically, PP-based flexible packaging today consists of a PP sealant film laminated to a substrate made of bioorientated polyester or bioorientated polypropylene. Similar sets of requirements in terms of modulus, heat resistance, optics is present, and also the sealant film is also expected to possess the necessary toughness, seal strength, along with low SIT and COF. Typically in the market today, the SIT of PP-based sealant film is in the range of about 105 to 115 degrees C, While this SIT performance works well for a CPP BOPET kind of structure, it will present challenges to the sealing operation if converters want to move towards a full PP solution, which is from a CPP BOPP kind of film structure. This is because BOPP substrate has a very similar melting temperature as the sealant CPP film, and hence there will be potential issues where the BOPP substrate will wrinkle or get stuck on the sealing bar during the sealing process, right? So to resolve this, our proprietary Vistamax 3980 solution allows customer to reduce the SIT of sealant layer to approximately 90 degrees C, right? This widen the sealing window and resolve the challenge of BOPP substrate wrinkling during the sealing process, which is a major hurdle for mono PP film design. At the same time, for high toughness packaging requirement, our Vistamax 6102 solution will be able to improve the puncture resistance of the PP film to ensure the integrity of the packed products. This set of solution, again, will be critical for customers who are considering all PP-based films, which are recyclable without compromising on the performance required. So with this, I have come to the end of my session. And if you're interested in more details regarding our mono PE or mono PP film solutions, feel free to reach out to me after this call. Alternatively, you can scan the QR code shared on the screen to get in touch with our sales representative. Once again, thank you for taking the time to join me in this call today, and I'll hand it back to you, Jessie.
Thank you, Mr. Yao, for introducing innovative solutions for recyclable, flexible packaging. If you have any questions for Mr. Yao, please type them in the Q&A box in your control panel. May I now introduce the fourth speaker of today, Mr. Simeon Wong. Mr. Wong is the Deputy Manager of Overseas Marketing of Jingming Machinery, Guangdong. He is in charge of market development and business connection for Southeast Asia and South Asia region, providing solutions and services in plastic film extrusion and forming, as well as post-processing machinery. With 13 years of experience in the industry, Mr. Wong fully understands the market demand of flexible packaging from Southeast Asia and South Asia. Mr. Wong, over to you.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Simeon Wong. I'm in charge of marketing and overseas business development in Jingming, particularly focusing on Southeast Asia and South Asia region. Working as one of the world's leading manufacturer of multi-layer extrusion machinery in plastic film industry, we take great pleasure to share with you the latest technology application from Jingming in related to sustainable development in packaging solution. Our topic today is environmental friendly packaging, mono material packaging solution. It mainly contains of 3 parts, including brief information in eco-friendly packaging, and particularly focusing on sustainable development in flexible packaging, and the mono material packaging solution from Jingming. Firstly, let's quickly go through the development in eco-friendly packaging. Again, we'd like to show this picture from National Geographic to remind us how seriously our planet has been contaminated by garbage waste, particularly from plastic disposal. And we definitely need to do something to protect our living environment. Thanks to the effort from organizations, groups, and bodies in the whole industrial chain in related to plastic packaging, we have developed certain sustainable plastic waste management system by taking sequential measures of reduce, reuse, and recycle, trying to enable better use of plastic in a more cost-effective ways to reduce waste. From the upside-down triangle, we can see 2 different measures which are quite popular nowadays to handle plastic waste. The upper 3 aspects are mainly related to take good use of plastic before disposal. And the lower two are generally in concern of proper disposal handling. Biodegradation is one of the major ways. Looking back from raw material for film production, we can see here the classification in petrol-based and bio-based, biodegradable grades and non-biodegradable grades. The solution that we are sharing today is focusing on how to improve sustainable packaging with petrol-based, non-biodegradable materials, which are mainly composed of polyolefin. Let's take a look at the flexible packaging being applied in e-commerce industry, for example. We are having outer packaging mainly designed for the purpose of goods protection during logistic and transportation. We can find here different categories of film application, including black and white courier bags for express delivery, and many other different kinds of packaging for protection purpose. With the development from raw material and processing technique, we are having solutions from traditional bubble wraps to air bags, pillow pouches, and even air cushion bags that are widely used today, particularly for outer packaging to protect fragile products. On the other hand, we are having converted flexible packaging being applied as inner packaging, which is normally in direct contact with products. Flexible packaging is mainly applied in fast-moving consumer goods, mainly in food and beverage, pharmaceutical products, daily supplies, health food, and etc. Thanks to development from raw material and processing technique, general function of flexible packaging have been dramatically enhanced, particularly in mechanical property for protection, barrier property for extension of products' shelf life, nice profile design for consumer attraction, cost saving for transportation, and etc. More and more rigid packaging has been replaced by flexible packaging. However, new problem of plastic pollution also occurs when flexible packaging is widely applied, simply due to difficulty in collection, sortation, and proper handling of flexible packaging disposals. Accordingly, people have started to develop sustainable solutions for flexible packaging. As we all learn that flexible packaging is mainly of laminated film, which contain different kinds of plastic materials. BOPP, BOPET, BOPA are mainly applied as printed substrate. PE, OPP, and CPP are widely applied as sealable layer. Aluminum foil, polyamide, EVOH, and PVDC are mainly applied as barrier layer. Due to substrate of laminated film is mostly combined with several different kinds of materials, making huge difficulty and very high cost to carry out sortation and recycling of the film. Therefore, new structures of laminated film, which as less kind of material as possible, have been expected and demanded from the market. By trying to avoid using mixed plastic, pioneering companies in the packaging industry are trying to develop polyolefin-based and even mono-material-based film structures. Here are some of the mono-material structures to replace traditional laminated film structures. As you can see here, by using MDO-PE or BOPE to laminate with traditional PE, to replace traditional BOPP and PE structure or BOPAC PE structures, which is mainly applied for non-barrier property solution. In addition, we can also find MDO-PE or BOPE to laminates with PE EVOH-based structure, or to carry out PLA coating or metallizing onto BOPE or MDO-PE film to reach even barrier property on the film structures, trying to replace those structures that are having polyamide, PVDC, or aluminum foil. Referring to CFlex collaboration from Europe, who is moving as a pioneer in the industry, we may learn that from brand owners and retailers such as Nestle, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Pepsi, and etc., to film producer and flexible packaging converters, from raw material suppliers to machine manufacturers, altogether is moving toward the same direction, targeting to enable all flexible packaging circular by 2025. Here is guideline for applying circular structure of flexible packaging in details. You may also get it from CFlex website. Complying with market demand and sustainable development in flexible packaging, Jinming has also launched machinery and processing technology for mono-material packaging solution. As mentioned before, the ideal structure of mono-material packaging would be MDO-PE or BOPE working as printable substrate to laminate with normal PE from blown film or cast film process working as sealable substrate, as we understand that normal PE film would be difficult and lower efficient for printing and lamination processing due to extension problem. How to enhance stiffness and tensile property of PE film to enable higher speed converting becomes critical concern. Accordingly, Jinming has successfully developed and launched solution for both online MDO with 3-layer and 5-layer blown film line process, as well as offline MDO process. Here is the multi-layer coextrusion blown film line with online MDO unit. The benefit of online MDO is having higher percentage of yield rate, which could reach as much as 85% from original film before MDO, considering neck-in and edge trimming, while sophisticated material recipe and processing technique would be required, simply because once blown film line is started to run, only proper MDO-PE recipe can keep machine continuously running with less waste. On the other hand, Jinming also provides offline MDO machine solution, which is more suitable for initial business development to carry out trial on film stretching with different recipes. Jinming has carried out a series of trials not only from MDO substrate blown film and stretching, but also from post-processing of printing, lamination, and bed making to ensure performance of the MDO-PE film in flexible packaging with mono material structures. Meanwhile, same MDO machine can be also applied in production of PE breathable film, which is widely applied in hygiene industry, as well as protection suit, which is strongly demanded during COVID-19 pandemic. In consideration of barrier film property for flexible packaging, 5 to 9 layer coextrusion blown film line and water quench line for processing of PE and EVOH structure would be also available from Jinming. Last but not the least, CHINAPLAS 2021 will be held in Shenzhen during April 13th to 16th. We take great pleasure to invite your visit to Jinming booth at C41, hall number 5. Meanwhile, we are holding open house event in Jingming headquarters in Guangdong, Shantou during April 16th. Both online and offline MDO machine solution will be demonstrating in Jingming factory then. Your presence to witness machine in running would be our great pleasure. Thank you very much for all your attention and look forward to seeing you in CHINAPLAS.
Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your highlights on sustainable development in flexible package and mono-material package solution. If you have any questions for Mr. Wong, please type them in the Q&A box in your control panel. Before we move on to the next session, I would like to invite all the audience to spare 1 minute with us for a quick survey. After this survey, we shall start the panel discussion. We have 30 seconds left for the polling. Panel discussion will start after this. Thank you for your time. Now we will move on to the second session, panel discussion, moderated by Mr. Ashok Upadhyaya, together with 3 panelists, Ms. Wee Ching Yun, Mr. Yao Wei Jian, and Mr. Simeon Wong. Mr. Ashok, over to you, please.
Thank you, Jesse. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ashok Upadhyaya. I will be your moderator for today's second session. It's my pleasure to be moderator, and I would like to the audience that if you have any question during this session, please type them into question box of the Zoom control panel. We'll have time for this question at the end. We have some questions gathered from the first session and would like all the panelists to give their view on this. First, I will give you that about how to achieve and further promote sustainable plastic packaging for e-commerce in ASEAN. I would like Mr. Jiao, as a raw material manufacturer, to give his view on this first.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok.
Yes.
So I personally am very convinced that e-commerce will continue to grow in ASEAN, especially with so many people now getting comfortable with shopping online at the comfort of home, and items just delivered simply with a tap or click of the consumer's finger. With that, demand for packaging will increase in the form of both primary or secondary packaging solutions. This is to ensure integrity of products during the transportation phases. First thing on my mind regarding achieving and promoting sustainable plastic packaging for e-commerce in ASEAN will be the concept of doing more with less. At ExxonMobil, we are constantly challenging boundaries and bringing solutions to our customers with performance polymers across our polyethylene and polypropylene portfolio to enable customers with packaging solutions that are stronger but lighter. In this case, performance of packaging products are not compromised, and the lightweighting of the packaging products translate to lower carbon footprint for the e-commerce industry. Second thing would definitely be related to improving the recycling rate of plastic packaging. At ExxonMobil, we believe that plastics are too valuable to waste and should not end up as litter, either in our oceans or anywhere else in the environment. As I have shared earlier in my presentation, the design of mono-material packaging solutions, which can be recycled, is one of the key enablers to increase the mechanical recycling of plastic waste. Having said that, we know that mechanical recycling can have limitations, and that's where the concept of advanced recycling comes into play. Advanced recycling involves breaking down plastic waste into its molecular building blocks. This approach effectively transforms plastic waste into the raw materials that are used in the process of making virgin quality plastic and other valuable products. ExxonMobil believes advanced recycling is a necessary complement to traditional recycling. At ExxonMobil, we are working on technology to help enable and accelerate large-scale advanced recycling solutions that could address certain limitations of traditional recycling and doing so in an economically feasible way. These solutions we bring to the table will be key to promoting sustainable plastic packaging growth for e-commerce in ASEAN.
Thank you, Mr. Yeung. May I request Ms. Wee to give your opinion on this?
Thank you, Kun Ashok. We need to focus on the sellers at the e-commerce platform to educate the sellers about sustainability and to create a small circular economy among the players in the e-commerce arena. We need to educate them about what is composting and what is not. We need to educate them about recycled content packaging and packaging that is made out of advanced recycled material. So the options of sustainable packaging should be available, and the sellers should be empowered to choose the options. The other thing that we need to look at is a system change, for example, the reverse logistics, and understand that it is beyond individual ideas and the stakeholders each working in silos, but it is to come together and create a new condition for a new way of thinking to emerge, and how we are all interconnected because we have a common cause to come out with a sustainable packaging. Back to you, Kun Ashok.
Thank you. May I request Mr. Wang to give your view on this?
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. So working as one of the leading manufacturer of multi-layer coextrusion machinery, Jingming is always focusing on providing latest solution in the flexible packaging. And we are closely working with global market leaders in the material supplying, like ExxonMobil. So from Jingming, we are providing from monolayer to 9-layer, even 11-layer coextrusion. And we are always focusing on the 3R, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So from the reduction of the film layer and the micron, we are enabled to provide certain function of the film with a multi-layer coextrusion property. And on the other hand, we are enabled to reduce general capacity of the material to reduce the pollution into the environment. And on the other hand, we are jointly working with like ExxonMobil to develop the mono material packaging solution, trying to apply into flexible packaging industry. You know that in the flexible packaging, we are having different variety of material, which is difficult to separate and collect during, when the disposal of this flexible packaging. So if it is mono material packaging structure, that it could be much easier to do the recycle and to do the collection and to provide a certain benefit to the environment. And this will, we believe it will be like a win-win-win situation to the end user and to the material supplier, as well as the machinery manufacturer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. I hope the first question we have got some important points that about the advanced recycling. This is very interesting topic. And on the education, educating the user, the sellers about this sustainability and circular economy. And from Mr. Wang about the producing the film and packaging that is eco-friendly. So let's go to the second subject, stakeholders engagement, such as end user, service providers, the plastic packaging waste from e-commerce in supply chain from raw material supplier to consumer. May I ask Ms. V to give her point of view on this?
I would say that the policymakers can provide science-based guidelines on what constitutes a sustainable e-commerce packaging based on each country's national waste management system. The guidelines should complement the waste management system so that there is no obstacle during the implementation later. For example, in a national level where there is no waste management in terms of managing organic waste and there is no compostable facilities available. In that sort of situation, then compostable packaging may not be suitable as one of the options. So we should always work and complement with existing system and choose the best option. Back to you, Khun Ashok.
Thank you. Next, I would like Mr. Wang and Mr. Yeo to give his views each on the role of the policy makers can play in facilitating the growth of plastic packaging for e-commerce. So what role you should advise or suggest? Let's start with Mr. Wang first.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. So we do believe that government is playing as a role of guiders. You know, like they are providing some advertisement and guidance regarding the awareness about environment protection. We understand that in many of the country, in many of the districts, they have already launched the policy of garbage classification. And on the other hand, we believe that particularly from the flexible packaging, the government, we wish that they can develop some policy to encourage the middle section, which is the collection and sortation of the flexible packaging disposal, which can allow better environment and industrial chain in between the film making as well as recycling. Because we know that in the different section of this part, in many of the country, it is not like the rigid packaging of like, for example, the PET bottles and the other rigid bottles packaging. I'm talking of the plastic packaging, while in the flexible packaging is we are having less development in that section. So we hope that government can have more policy to support us to develop such an industry, such an business, and becoming a full virtual circle of this industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Mr. Jiao, please give your view on this.
Thanks, Mr. Ashok. So the value that plastic packaging can bring to the e-commerce industry is enormous in terms of reducing carbon footprint, as well as reducing food waste when it comes to extending shelf life of packaged food. As economies grow, society's commitment to waste management system must expand to enable the appropriate collection, sorting, and processing of waste to minimize environmental impact. These infrastructure enhancements are needed for all types of municipal solid waste and not just plastics. Incentives to drive collaboration to develop necessary infrastructure to manage such municipal solid waste and education regarding plastic waste management will be key areas where policymakers can make a difference in facilitating the growth of plastic packaging in the e-commerce industry. On the education front, like what Ms. Wee mentioned, policymakers need to take a science-based approach to understand the environmental impact of different types of packaging materials from a full life cycle basis. Plastic by itself is good for society and not a problem. Mismanaged plastic waste, on the other hand, is a serious problem. Once again, plastics are too valuable to waste and should not end up as litter either in our oceans or anywhere else in the environment. After the first step of getting the necessary infrastructure enhancement to manage municipal solid waste, education on the recycling capability of the community, like what Ms. Wee mentioned again just now, this needs to be in place and incentives needs to be provided such that the value chain, including individual consumers, are encouraged to work towards increasing the recycling rate of plastic materials. Once the plastic waste management issue is tackled, the benefits of plastic packaging will naturally drive the growth of plastic packaging in the e-commerce industry. Back to you, Mr. Ashok.
Thank you. Ms. Wei, you have anything to add up, please?
No, I think that complements very well. Mr. Yo just gave us a full-fledged of how to implement and how to get the system itself going in a more, the system has to be sustainable. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Yo, for adding that.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. The third question will be like under present situation under COVID-19, the hygiene concern of consumer have become high. How to balance sustainability and hygiene? May I request Mr. Yeo to give some suggestion on this, on the side of the material maker, what can be safer?
Sure, thanks, Mr. Ashok. So the key to having safe raw material will be automation and also a good quality control system. So generally speaking, most resin suppliers are highly automated and the process from end to end, from feedstock to resin, right? I believe the key to managing the hygiene concern from COVID-19 will be towards the handling of materials, especially during loading and unloading of resins at our customer's end, where resins are transferred from packaging bags to feeding system. Today, we already have customers who are using silo systems for the feeding of resins into their manufacturing process, such that their end-to-end process is also fully automated. At ExxonMobil, we provide customers with the option to purchase resins in bulk packaging to enable such fully automated process to minimize human contact and possible contamination involving manual workers. On the quality control front, we have our global product quality management system in place to manage the manufacturing and delivery of our products from our Singapore site, which is serving the ASEAN markets. Regular audits are carried out to ensure compliance to our global product quality management system. And on top of that, our Singapore site is also ISO 9001 certified. Recently, as part of COVID-19 prevention and control measures, we have also ensured that our operations in Singapore are in line with the COVID-19 requirements for safe management measures at the workplace outlined by Singapore Ministry of Manpower. These processes and our ability to support automation at our customers' end will be able to address the hygiene concerns from the market. Hope I answered the question, Mr. Ashok.
Thank you. And Mr. Wang, please, can you add up something on the how packaging can be safer?
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Well, this part, we like to share some of the real story happened in the industry. As you know that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our engineer is having difficulty to travel abroad to offer the service to the customer who's ordered the machine for making the film. So we are trying whatever way, doing our best effort to build up such a system. Like from the machine, we have installed a distant communication module so that in any case, we can provide a distant guidance to our customer to the end users how to operate the machine. And we also build up a team from like WeChat or WhatsApp group, trying to offer some decent communication for the support on machine installation and electrical connection, as well as processing. So this is what we are doing all together with the material company, trying to help our customer to produce the film during this pandemic situation. Thank you.
So this situation brings us the new way of communicating with the machine. Thank you, Mr. Wang.
Thank you.
The fourth question will be around how to balance sustainability, cost, and performance of the plastic packaging. May I request Mr. Wang, you to be the first to suggest on this?
Actually, we always believe that the cost would be the most focusing, like the cost and the benefit, the profit actually. So we also understand that now it's very popular for the biodegradable packaging, while we believe that, as Mr. Yo just said, that the plastic resin from polyolefin, it's actually more than valuable. So we do believe that somehow with the development from the material as well as from the processing technique and the machinery, we do have the updated solution to provide more valuable and general cost saving for the packaging solution, especially for the flexible packaging. Thank you.
Thank you. What about your suggestion, Mr. Yeo?
Sure. So generally speaking, there are always certain key performances which cannot be compromised for different packaging needs. This can be areas like puncture resistance, drop resistance, barrier performance, etc. Moving forward, I expect sustainability will also become a core performance requirement for plastic packaging. The balance here will be to be determining what is the most cost-effective solution that can meet these needs from the market. This is no different from how things are today. If a packaging product is not able to meet the basic puncture resistance, drop resistance, or barrier need, it will not be accepted, regardless how low the cost of the product is. The challenges with sustainability is complex. And here I am referring to sustainability, not just from the angle of plastic waste management, but also other issues related, such as climate change and food waste. In order to come up with more cost-effective, balanced solutions versus existing packaging solutions in the market today, the entire value chain from resin supplier to film producer to converter to brand owners to NGOs, all of us will need to actively collaborate in order to develop innovative solutions that can tackle these complex challenges. The mono-material solutions and advanced recycling technology that ExxonMobil is working on will be some of the key enablers for the industry to achieve this balance. Okay.
Thank you. And may I request Ms. Wee to give your final suggestion on this?
So sustainability, cost, and performance, like Mr. Wang and Mr. Yo has mentioned, is a three-pronged balancing act. We should always prioritize on the function of the packaging first. After all, the primary objective of a packaging is to protect its content, especially in the e-commerce platform. Attractiveness on the shelf becomes less important compared to a brick and mortar retail. So truly at the e-commerce platform, the packaging is mainly to protect the content from point A until the customer's place. So the packaging should be good enough. We should always review the under and the over packaging. We should try to avoid this. Under packaging, you create spoilage of content. Over packaging, you are just naturally spending more unnecessarily. And after we select the function of the packaging, after we have fulfilled the function of the packaging, then we look at the sustainability options. The sustainability options will determine the cost. So just like Mr. Yeo say, you have to look in totality. You can't sell something when the cost of packaging is too high compared to the content. But on the other hand, you can't sell something when every time you deliver, the content is spoiled, right? So it is a very delicate balance of the three. But definitely sustainability is a big consideration right now when during the sellers consideration. Sustainability is one of the important factor right now. Back to you, Ashok.
Thank you very much. I would like, before the ending of this session, I would like to ask every panelist to give their one of the best final thought or suggestion on today's discussion. May I start with Mr. Wang first?
Yeah, thank you for all of us with the collaboration from the material supplier to the government association to the machinery manufacturer. We all together work closely to provide the better solution, and as well as Ms. Week just mentioned about the balance between the packaging, which is not lower packaging or over packaging. We need to provide a proper solution, which is the cost-effective solution to the market. And we believe that that would meet our customers and the end users' satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wei, your final thought?
We talk so much about us in the stakeholders, all the stakeholders working together, but we must also remember we are also the consumer. So for a circular economy or for sustainable packaging to be achievable, from the novel materials from Exxon, for example, to the best collection system, to advanced recycling. I think the basic of all this, for all this to happen, the basic is us as consumer, we have to start separation at source, and we have to start salvaging these recyclable materials that the sellers, manufacturers, the raw material suppliers has put so much effort in inventing this packaging. But if the consumer do not, at the end of the day, salvage this recyclable, then all the efforts will go into waste. So I think the most important thing is we ourselves, starting with us as a consumer, we have to influence and we have to lead by example, by practicing separation at source and salvaging the recyclables. Back to you, Ashok.
Thank you. So may I request Mr. Yeo to give your closing suggestion or thought on this discussion?
Sure. So I think at the end of the day, it is really all of our responsibility. Each and every one of us have the responsibility to make sure that tomorrow will be a better world for everyone, right? For our children. And as I mentioned earlier, the sustainability challenges, first of all, they are very real and they are very, very complex. As what Mr. Wang and Ms. Wee mentioned, I fully agree. The only way we can do this is only when we have the entire value chain all the way down to the consumers playing their part, to make sure that we commit in terms of resources, in terms of discipline, in terms of energy, going in to do R&D, collaborate, come up with new innovation solutions. Only with that, then we will be able to tackle these challenges. Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions which we got. Due to time constraints, audience with the question, please send your inquiry to the speaker individually. Ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you very much for your active participation in this online forum. I hope you get some insights and enjoy it. Thank you. May I pass this my role to Jesse? Please carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok, Ms. Wee, Mr. Yao, and Mr. Wong for the sharing. We hope that our audience have a clearer picture in the future plastic packaging for e-commerce and have found the inspirations and solutions to rethink your value chain for a more resilient and more sustainable plastic packaging industry. I see that our audience have raised many questions. However, due to time constraint, audience with questions may contact our speakers directly. You may also leave your questions and contact email in the Q&A box here. We will forward your questions to our speakers afterwards. After this webinar, the PowerPoint presentations of our speakers will be emailed to you. We will also email you a survey for your feedback. Last but not least, CHINAPLAS, Asia's leading plastic and rubber trade fair, will take place on April 13 to 16, 2021 in Shenzhen, China. If you're not able to visit the show in person this year, you're very much welcome to join our official live streaming. You may stay connected with the plastic and rubber industry, explore the latest technologies and solutions, be inspired by different thematic events all in one platform through the live streaming without geographical boundary. Here, we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.